Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And them good old boys down south, I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond, in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys from Canada, you know we love you in Africa, the Big C tribe, but there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave on a beautiful September 21st, 2018. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
Well, Charlton, it's been a struggling day. I got up this morning and I was looking around. I thought I had lost my mind because my cane was gone.
Yeah.
You know, and here it is. I'm looking all around, and my kids are hitting my cane from me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get even with them tomorrow, Charlton. I'm going down to Home Depot in the morning.
Yep.
I'm going to get some new locks for the door.
Yep.
And I'm going to change them. And see if they can get back in the house.
Hey, you know kids are smart. They may change them on you, Big C. You got to remember Ferris Bueller's Day Off back in the day. He drove his dad's Ferrari, and that Ferrari was never the same. A lot happening in the sports universe, from NFL football, college football, everything's good, baseball. A lot of people are getting ready for the hunt for Red October. But as we always want to tell you, today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac leaders, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. You know, Big C, we always pay homage to some of the things that we think about as young kids, and that would be high school football. High school football on the West Coast is a big thing. I know it's big down south, but it's big all over the country. And for every player we see playing college football, and all the players that we see right now making it in the professional football ranks, they all started somewhere, and that was usually on the high school level. Big C, is it still something that stays in your mind, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you think back to the days of high school football back in the era that I played in. You know, we had suspension helmets when I first started playing the game. They had this canvas belt around, and then it was held by strings inside the helmet. They didn't have all the newfangled helmets that they have now, Charlton, with all these compartments on them and everything.
Right.
And, you know, actually the face mask was kind of plastic. It didn't have metal in it.
Oh, really?
It was a plastic, you know, face mask. And so the game has evolved a lot. You know, we even look at the uniforms that we wore. I mean, I think the stains in my pants was there from the last 2 or 3 seasons. You know, when I finally got them.
Yeah.
But, you know, you look at the players now, they're all equipped with the gloves and all these specialty pads and everything. And they're looking like they're going to a fashion show half the time. Versus what we were just, you know, back in that era of 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah, just
you played straightforward football. But I think everybody, regardless of how old you get, reminisce about something that occurred in a high school football game or a season, Charlton.
Yeah.
Because they were memorable moments. There was a bit of innocence in your life, and you played that game off of pure joy and frustration.
Yeah.
That's all it was. It wasn't about that, well, you know, I'm going to get some, you know, bonus after the game, or, you know, they're going to kick me out of an envelope or something like that.
Yeah.
It was that you had rivalries that you generally hated. You know, if you had a school in your conference, you generally hated them. You grew up and you were taught to hate that school, Charlton. From the time that you went to the game as a little kid before you played, because we didn't have pop water.
Yeah. And
you couldn't wait, Charlton. And I was the same way. You could not wait to play that opponent, Charlton, in a regular season game.
Well, it's always great when we just pay homage to that. So we'll run down our Big C Sports Top 10 High School Friday Night Lights. Number 1, St. John Bosco, Bellflower, California. Number 2, Mater Dei Santa Ana. And they're in the same league called the Trinity League down there near Disneyland. Number 3, Allen, Texas. Number 4, St. John's of Washington, D.C., another good program from the Northeast. Number 5 is IMG Academy out of Bradenton, Florida. They actually play in Mater Dei, I believe, next week. And Big C, they're going to make that cross-country flight. I know when you played football, as a pro, when you flew across the country, you did to get paid. These guys are doing it for free. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you think about the luxury of how the game has gone now, Charlton. I think our longest road trip when I was in high school was a game that we left actually the day before, and we spent the night with the opposing teams. We did that in high school and in, you know, in football and in basketball.
Yeah.
But when you think about what they're doing to the kids now. And I don't know if that's the best thing for the kids, Charlton, as I spoke about with the rivalry scenario.
Yeah.
Is that there's enough schools in your local area, Charlton,
Oh, yeah.
to build up those intense rivalries
Yep.
that last for a lifetime. Yes, that road travel game in an airplane, Charlton, that's something spectacular.
Yep.
But it's also unfair to the rest of the teams in your league.
Yeah.
When you get that type of exclusivity, Charlton, there has to be some financial incentive involved in that.
Well, that's true. And oftentimes, the players don't make any money. It's just for ESPN and some of the other people to sell, merchandise into high school football fans. Number 6 is St. Francis Academy out of Baltimore, Maryland. Number 7, St. Thomas Aquinas out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, followed by number 8, Lake Travis of Austin, Texas. Number 9, Centennial of Corona, California. And then rounding out the top 10 is St. Louis of Honolulu, Hawaii. And we wish you all the best on Friday Night Lights. Remember, that's where it all starts. It's supposed to be the age of innocence, but I don't know how innocent it is when you fly 80 football players that are in high school across the country for a high school football game. Big C, I want to jump into the world of what's going on right now in college football, because there's so many great games out there in the land of the free and the home of the brave, and none other than when you think about tonight, they have Washington State 3-0 on the season at Southern California 1-2. That's an ESPN game, 10:30 kickoff Eastern time, and USC's favored by 5. I even Googled. I can't find a time when Washington State was 3-0 and USC was 1-2, and it looks like the Trojans have played with no heart for the first couple of games. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is a program that's in disarray. I mean, they lost their quarterback to the early entry into the draft last year. They started a true freshman.
Yep.
But you don't have that continuity with the true freshmen. You might always say that they have a great upside, Charlton, but it's something to be said about sitting back learning. And if you think about Clay Helton at USC, Charlton, if he loses this game tonight, that's 3 consecutive years that he gets off to a 1-3 start. So he hasn't been a great motivator at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't look like they have that extra oomph that they used to have playing football for the Trojans back in the day. I also look at tonight, we have Penn State at Illinois. Kind of a beat-down game. Penn State favored by 27.5. And then Florida Atlantic, they're 2-1 versus Central Florida. Also 2-0 and ranked number 18 in the country. Big C, your thoughts on will Florida Atlantic get back to the winning waves after they were drubbed in the earlier part of the season? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I don't think that's something that will occur. When you think about University of Central Florida, they're the fastest scoring team in the country, Charlton.
Yeah.
They go into that game tonight averaging a touchdown, a score every 1 minute and 50 seconds of possession when they have the ball.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take them long to get on the scoreboard. And when you think about their quarterback, Charlton, who led them to a 13-0 record last year in the self-proclaimed national championship.
Yeah.
He and Tua, the quarterback at Alabama, were on the same high school team together in Honolulu.
Yeah, St. Louis.
He played the running back, and Tua was the quarterback.
Oh, really? That's a good knowledge, Big C. They came over from Hawaii, St. Louis High School in Honolulu, Hawaii. Think about trying to guarantee a win. The University of Nebraska, they added a team for its rainout date, September, when they had the game against Akron. This is going to be October 27th. They would play Bethune-Cookman, a Division I AA school from the SWAC. Why is Nebraska playing a SWAC team when Nebraska's always on TV? They're always getting the major conference affiliation, that money from the Big Ten. I understand the SWAC's going to step out and try to get some of that money too. But if Frost wants to build a winning reputation, playing the SWAC is a step down as opposed to maybe playing a bigger team, maybe from the SEC. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I think he's trying to give his players a vote of confidence.
Yeah.
Because by the time that they play Bethune-Cookman, Nebraska could easily be 0-6, Charlton, when you look at that gauntlet that they have. They have 4 consecutive Big Ten games against high-ranking opponents that they're going to face, Charlton.
Yeah.
And so they're playing a walk-on quarterback. And, you know, the excuse for Frost is going to be, well, he's playing with Mike Riley's player.
Mike Riley's player.
And so he doesn't have his play. And as I keep reiterating, Charlton, when these guys take these jobs at a different university, they know who's on the roster.
Yep.
They know what players they're inheriting. If they don't like the players, they release them all from scholarship. Say you can go elsewhere.
Yeah.
So I can bring in all the guys I want.
Yep.
Unfortunately, they got their freshman quarterback hurt in the first game, Martinez, Charlton, that they played against Colorado. that really hurt and set them back offensively.
Yeah.
But you bring in Bethune-Cookman trying to get your offense any type of motivation that you can give them. I wouldn't be surprised, Charlton, this year if Nebraska didn't win more than 3 games.
Really? That's a big change for a team that used to have Tom Osborne, and they were always playing for a Big 8 championships and national championships back in the day. Saturday, games that are big. We have Florida and Missouri. This game could be a shootout between Jacob Fromm and Matt Muck. Just get your thoughts. Florida is not really considered that dominant team anymore. They have still a dominant recruiting bid, and especially Missouri, how they've even joined the SEC. They're a team to have as much success as Florida. There's not a lot of talent in Missouri. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, we're actually looking at Georgia and Missouri. Georgia's the number 2 ranked team in the country. They're going down and playing Missouri and Columbia, Charlton. Missouri's undefeated. They got a high-profile quarterback in Matt Mock, who can really get the ball around the field. He actually led the SEC in passing last year, Charlton. You look at Jacob Fromm, the true sophomore quarterback that led Georgia to the national championship game last year.
Yeah.
And Georgia's 2-0 this year, Charlton. This is a game that, you might see 600-700 yards passing in this game, Charlton. I do think that Missouri will cover the spread. As high-profile offense as Georgia has, I think Missouri can keep up with them on game day.
Well, anything goes in college football. Again, that is number 3 Georgia 3-0, and number 3 actually Missouri's 3-0 also. That's a noontime kickoff. ESPN. Georgia's favorite by 14 points. You look at Notre Dame, ranked number 8 in the country, 3-0 at Wake Forest, 2-1. That's noontime on the ABC Sports. Notre Dame's actually favored by 7. They've played a lot of close games so far. They got to really get their offense on track. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this could be one of those trap games when you look at Wake Forest. They played Boston College close to the best last week.
Yeah.
Boston College is 3-0, running under the radar, just made the top 25. I think they moved in at 23. They have a quarterback that dropped 5 touchdowns last week for Boston College. Notre Dame is not going to put that type of pressure on this Wake defense with Wimbush at quarterback, who has been struggling, Charlton, all year. So I expect for Wake Forest, I know they will cover the spread, and they just may knock off Notre Dame, Charlton.
Yeah, that's a very good point, too, Big C. I just want to bring up also Nebraska 0-2 at number 21, Michigan 2-1. That's a low ranking for Michigan being 21, especially when they played Notre Dame somewhat close for the first game. That's a noontime kickoff on Fox Sports 1. Michigan's favored by 17 over the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I wanted to make sure I got that right. The Nebraska Cornhuskers at Michigan. These are 2 marquee programs that have just a history that you don't want to see them down. Michigan's up, but to the polls, being ranked 21 is kind of an underachievement. And for Nebraska, just having the failure so far, I know there's a lot of heat already on Frost in Nebraska. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, realistically, there's not going to be any heat on Frost in Nebraska, because this is a hometown boy coming home.
Yeah.
The thing about Nebraska, the luxury, Charlton, they're not a major media market. And they're the new boy in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
What it did, though, Charlton, Frost took the pressure off of Harbaugh. So all the attention now is not on Harbaugh, not excelling to what the expectations were in Michigan.
Yeah.
So he's going to get a reprieve this season, not even next year, Charlton, with Nebraska struggling. But Michigan should handle business in this game against Nebraska. These are 2 different programs.
Thinking of programs that will handle business, when you look at Ohio State, ranked number 4 in the country, they're 3-0. Tulane's 1-2, so it's really just a scrimmage for Ohio State. A 3:30 kickoff on the Big Ten Network. Ohio State favored by 36. Urban Meyer coming back. I think all of the talk about what happened for his suspension can be put to rest if they roll at home in this Saturday. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, that's going to be a huge focus, is how this team responds with Urban Meyer back at the helm.
Yep.
Will they be angry coming out there? I mean, this is an opportunity for Ohio State getting back on track, scoring over 60 points again versus Tulane like they have done in their first 2 games, Charlton. This is a game that defensively, Tulane's offensive line cannot play with Ohio State's defensive line, which is probably the 2nd best defensive line in the country.
That's not an understatement at all, Big C. They're very talented up north. Number 22, Texas A&M 2-1 at number 1 Alabama 3-0. Now A&M they were at home when they did it, but they took Clemson to the wire. They lost by 2 points, 28-26. They were trying to tie that game up in the end, but fell short to a better team in Clemson. Now they're on the road at Alabama. again, A&M got Alabama once, but that's when Manziel was throwing the ball back in the day. And Alabama's not going to be a letdown, but they haven't gone undefeated throughout, wire to wire in some time. They always drop a game. I doubt if they drop this game, but you can bet A&M will try to at least match them athletically on CBS Sports at 3:30 kickoff. Alabama's favored by 26 points. Again, A&M, they lost by 2 to the number 2 team in the country, Clemson. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you got to think about this game, Charlton. It's going to be in Tuscaloosa.
Oh, the officials?
Is a Nick Saban protege.
Yeah.
The last time they met last year was in the kickoff classic down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
When they lost their quarterback, Francois, at Florida State.
Yeah.
But defensively, Alabama is tougher defensively than they are offensively. Everybody is looking at them, Charlton, where they've scored over 50 points in their first 3 games. First time ever a top-ranked team in the country's ever done that.
Yeah.
Opening a season. This team is just a dominant defensive team. You got to realize they spotted Mississippi a touchdown last week.
Yep.
The rest of the touchdowns Mississippi saw, Alabama was scoring.
Yeah.
This game will be a blowout, Charlton,
yep,
in favor of Alabama.
Well, like a video game, sometime Alabama scores so much. Number 2, Clemson, 3-0. At Georgia Tech, 1-2. A team that runs the ball very well. That game's in Atlanta on ABC Sports at 3:30 kickoff Eastern Time. Clemson's favored by only 15. You're the number 2 team in the country. You're accustomed to playing for national championships. You're on the road at Georgia Tech, which has 1 win in the season. You're only favored by 15. Is that mean that there's a chink in the armor of them good old boys, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Kelly Bryant is questionable for this game, Charlton. He got a little dinged up against Syracuse last week. Not only that, they're coming to Atlanta to play Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech runs that wishbone.
Yep.
And that offense at times, Charlton, can be very methodical, especially against the type of defensive linemen that Clemson has. These are very aggressive defensive lines. They're going to be facing cut blocks all game long, Charlton. That's a hard thing to adjust to when you're normally a straight up and down defensive lineman. So that's why the point spread is so low.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see how Clemson handles that game. I want to look at a game that may have a coach on the hot seat. I talked about Frost in Nebraska being on the hot seat. Maybe. You say he's a homegrown kid, so maybe not. I look at, it's hard to even say Florida State would not be a dominant program. They're in the heart of high school talent down in Florida. We just did the Friday Night Lights thing. Northern Illinois coming in at 1-2. At Florida State, 1-2. Florida State being 1-2 is like seeing Southern California 1-2. Now, that's a 3:30 kickoff on ESPNU. Florida State's actually favored by 10.5 points, Big C. But it's hard to see a team like that only has 1 win on the season after they played 3 games. Your thoughts?
Charlton, I've seen so many lackluster efforts from the Florida State offensively and defensively. And a team like Northern Illinois, this is where you can make a mark for your program.
Yeah.
You come in, you beat them in their house, Charlton, and you get them when they're down.
Yep.
And that's what Florida State, I saw last week. I saw people just giving up. And so I'm not sure if Willie Totten is motivating the team or the guys just don't care. They were mad because Jimbo Fisher left. But, think about the tale of these 2 stories, Charlton.
Yeah.
The excuses being made right now for Scott Frost, who hasn't won a game.
Yep.
Well, he doesn't have his players intact. These are not his players.
Yeah.
He's a white coach. Willie Taggart's a black coach. And if he loses this game, they're going to be calling for his head. Well, Scott Frost guy has a 2-year reprieve at Nebraska.
Yeah, it seems to go that way. Speaking of calling for the head of someone, I think about Texas. And I think about football is good in Texas. High school football is amazing. Number 17 TCU, 2-1 on the season. Only lost Ohio State. At Texas, 2-1 on the season. They lost to Maryland. They beat Tulsa, and they should have lost to Tulsa. And they blew out Southern Cal, which looked like they just didn't play. Now, I don't know if they didn't take their own Gatorade. I've been warning the boys at Lynn Swan, the AD at Southern Cal, start bringing your Gatorade. Don't get that Southern guys giving you Gatorade. There might be something in it, Big C. But when you look at TCU, they've been the class of the pack when you look at the Big 12. Over the last couple of seasons, when I look at Texas, I still think Texas has the eye test. They have better talent than TCU, just looking at how they looked against Southern California when you look at their athletes. But Texas, that's a 4:30 kickoff on Fox Sports. TCU is favored by 3 points at Texas, which has to have some emotional lift after beating up on Southern Cal. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you think about TCU, that little private school over in Fort Worth that people laughed at for years.
Yeah.
They beat Texas 4 consecutive years now, Charlton.
Yeah.
They are not afraid of the big boys. Matter of fact, they've been to the Rose Bowl, won the Rose Bowl. They've been around the country and played everybody.
Yeah.
If you think about the game against Ohio State last week, Charlton, Ohio State won that game.
Yeah.
14 points came off of Ohio State's defense, though.
Yeah.
You take that out, it's a completely different game, Charlton. So you're talking about a team that played the second-ranked team in the country to the nail.
Yeah.
And so, yes, Texas had a big game and a must-needed game against USC. But they've played USC the past couple of years tough like that, Charlton. The game in the Coliseum 2 seasons ago went into overtime.
Yeah.
So it's not that USC was a better team than Texas. They were fortunate last year and didn't have that same opportunity this year. I still like TCU blowing them out in this game, Charlton.
That would be an amazing thing to get a big emotional win versus USC and then fall flat versus TCU. Big C, another game on the West Coast. Number 7, Stanford, 3-0 on the season. Shaw's doing an amazing job. At number 19, Oregon, also 3-0 on the season. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff on ABC Sports Eastern Time. Stanford's favored by 2. When they go up to Oregon, they rarely win. This is an Oregon team that's flying under the radar. Ducks do fly or do they skip under the radar? They're doing something under the radar, Big Z. But this is a game where if Stanford were to lose, it's really not an upset, even though they have to keep this going if they have any hopes of trying to win the Pac-12 championship. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this Stanford team has played tremendous defense this year under Coach Shaw. You know, the offense is what struggled. They got a true freshman playing quarterback. Devall Love, the running back, has not demonstrated what he did last year in his tremendous junior season. But Justin Herbert is one of those quarterbacks that not a lot is known about him, Charlton, out in Oregon.
Right.
Other than he can throw a really nice football and throw a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah.
You know, as we talked about before with that Oregon team, Charlton, teams are mesmerized every year because what are they going to win? You're waiting on the Oregon fashion show.
Yeah.
I mean, I even turn it on to see what the Oregon fashion show
just to
is.
see, yeah.
You know, I'm trying to get Phil Knight's email telling, you know, I will market some of this stuff for you.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, this is a game that, you know, even though Stanford is favored, I can't take the Ducks away at home and not give them the victory, though.
Yeah, they're tough at home. Arizona State, 2-1. We played to win the game. Really love what that good old boy is doing, Big C. They're at number 12, Washington, 2-1 on the season. Washington's chances were hurt when LSU knocked off Auburn, and Washington had a chance to beat Auburn down south. That's an ESPN game, 7:30 kickoff Eastern Time, and Washington's favored by 17.5. I think that's a lot over an Arizona State team, and I just want to get your thoughts. If that Washington should win, they're at home, and it's a late game. But the 17.5 is a lot to give a team that had a struggle up in Utah, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, that's the same story that Washington played at last year when they went down to Tempe, and they had a chance to make the BCS playoffs, but Arizona State knocked them off.
Yep.
Arizona State may be a better team this year, Charlton, than what they were last year. They're playing with a lot more enthusiasm. We haven't seen any big spark from Washington. In the game that everybody saw nationally versus Auburn, they couldn't make the big play.
Yep.
They trickled by Utah last week, Charlton, in a conference game. This is going to be a hard game against Arizona State, Charlton. If they don't come out early and let Arizona State hang around, in the end, it may nip them in the bud, Charlton.
Big C, Florida 2-1 at Tennessee 2-1. 7 o'clock ESPN. Florida favored by 4. 10 years ago, this would have been a must-see primetime game. Now it's just another game with 2 marquee programs. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, these are 2 programs that have fallen on hard times. And if you look at the victories they have, Charlton, they're not playing any power conference schools.
No.
They're paying guys that you pay to come in to lose games.
Right.
And fortunately enough, they've won those games.
Yeah.
You know, these programs are going to take a while to rebuild, you know, with the coaches that they have. And once again, you know, it'll be, well, they don't have their players in.
Right.
Well, you know, the players that go to these schools, Charlton, have always come from those same recruiting hotbeds. It's just that the country is caught up with them.
Yep.
You know, you no longer have Steve Spurrier down there in Florida.
Recruiting everybody. Yeah.
You know, you don't have these guys anymore, Charlton.
Yeah.
So these programs have struggled the past couple of years.
Yeah, that's always the case. It's always about who's coaching. An SEC game that maybe will go under the radar, just when you think about it. Number 14, Mississippi State. They're 3-0 at Kentucky. 3-0. 7 o'clock kickoff, ESPN2. Mississippi State is favored by 9.5 on the road at Kentucky. When you get a 9.5 favorite on the road, you're not bringing enough moonshine to kind of get those officials to be happy with you. They need more flags to stay in that game, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Jonathan, Mississippi State is hoping that Kentucky still has that hangover from last
No
week.
pun intended. Yep.
No pun intended. They beat Florida for the first time in 31 years last week.
Yeah.
So they're still celebrating. Trust me, they had some shine going on week long. They elected. And that's where they make the bourbon at. Now, that's the home of Jim Lee.
Yeah.
So think about it. There's a lot of celebration going on. When you look at Mississippi State, Charlton, we talked about them in the opening week of the college football season.
Yeah.
That they were a team that would go under the radar.
Yep.
And you think about their quarterback Fitzpatrick last week, Charlton. He threw 7 touchdown passes.
Wow.
So this is an offense that can get it done.
Yeah.
Kentucky has been known for the past couple of years getting off to a good start, Charlton. Last year they were 7-1.
Yep.
All of a sudden they didn't win another game after that.
Yeah.
But I still love Mississippi State because, Charlton, they have some athletes on defense that will equal Alabama.
Yeah, they are very well coached, very well stocked down south. As we finished out the college football rankings, I just want to wish everybody great health and a lot of good tailgating out there. I don't know what they're doing to tailgate down south, but out here in the West Coast, Big C, maybe I've been petitioning you to get some of Big C's of Charlton's new relaxation libation, the vibranium flavored ice cream for your restaurants. Now, the reason you should have the vibranium flavored ice cream, Big C, not only can you eat this stuff, you can drink it, you can even put whipped cream on it, and you can even put some hot chocolate on it. I think if you were to put this in your restaurants, Big C, it would be the #1 requested drink in the universe, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Chuck, it's hard to break tradition with the good old boy stuff down here. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And when you drink too much shine, you can't read what's on the menu anyway. So you just keep giving me the regular.
Yeah, they just want the regular, but I know that vibranium stuff is amazing, Big C. Speaking of amazing, the Boston Red Sox, Major League Baseball's, I would say, prodigal team. There's something about Fenway Park that they've kept it the way they've kept it over the years. All they've done is maybe added some nice paint jobs to it, but it's still a great place. It's still old and rusty. But the Boston Red Sox, they clinched the American League East in New York last night with an 11-6 victory over the Yankees. Now, the Yankees got it the day before, but them good old boys in Boston, they can start spilling. Do they spill beans or do they drink the beans? Who spilled the beans, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you think about it. They knocked off the Yankees last night in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
To celebrate winning the American League East.
Yep.
And you think about the celebration for division titles in baseball. It's the only sport that celebrates division titles. I mean, the locker room is showered with champagne and any other thing that will explode out of a can or a bottle.
Yeah.
But, you think about in football. When you win a division championship, Charlton, you win the AFC or NFC title to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
There's no celebration that go on. They get the little ceremony, passing out the trophy.
Yep.
Even in the NBA, you win your division heading to the championship.
Yeah.
There's no celebration.
No.
Baseball is the only sport where if you win your division title, you get champagne showers.
Yep.
You don't even win the World Series. And a lot of times,
Yeah.
you don't even get a chance to sniff it. So, I mean, there's a lot of pre-celebrations in baseball. But, with as many games as they play, I guess, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's always worth it, Big C. Now, we did the East Coast. Congratulations, Boston Red Sox. You played from top to bottom. I mean, you guys have been playing lights out. I really hope they get to the ALCS, Big C. And when we swing it across to the West Coast, the Oakland Athletics last night scored more points than the Oakland Raiders when they had a 21-3 win over the Angels. Now, how do you beat an angel? Is angel supposed to be a messenger from God? How do you go explain yourself to God when you beat his angels 21-3? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, I guess the A stands for apostle. So they get a little reprieve on that,
Yeah.
But, I don't know if John Gruden was at the game or he was watching the game, Charles.
Yeah.
Because in football, normally 21 points equals 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And when you think about the Oakland Raiders, Charlton,
Yeah.
They haven't scored 21 points in either one of their 2 games this season.
Wow.
So maybe they need to go over and take some batting practice from the A's on how to get runs in.
Well, if John Gruden was coaching or managing the Oakland A's, I'm sure he would trade over their best pitchers and say, we weren't that good with them in the first place. What do you say, Big C? So we talked about Big C's Friday Night Lights. We talked about the congratulations to the Boston Red Sox. A lot of good things happening in the sports universe. Big C, we have some golf coming up. And there's something about golf in the world of Tiger Woods. When Tiger Woods is playing, he's tied right now going into the weekend. You always talk about Tiger Woods competing, again, not golf competing against football, but Tiger Woods competing against football. I think the major networks, especially all the sycophants that said, well, Tiger Woods is washed up. He's never going to win again. Well, the fact that he's tied for first with Justin Rose, he shot 7 under. McIlroy is in 3rd place at 5 under, Rahm at 4 under, and Cantley at 4 under. But to see Woods, at one time he was -8, and he had a little get away. He got a bogey. But just because he's there, that's going to change the ratings for all the football games being played Saturday and Sunday, especially if he goes into Sunday tied or in first place. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it's not because he's just there. He's there.
Yeah.
You think about it, 2 consecutive days on the leaderboard. Think about the last time that Tiger Woods did that.
Been a while.
2 consecutive days on the leaderboard and 2 consecutive days of shooting subpar golf.
Yeah.
He hasn't done that, Charlton, in over a decade.
Yeah.
So when you think about the promise of the biggest golf tournament of the year, the FedEx Cup, Charlton, and to have Tiger Woods competitive on that, and it's probably one of the biggest sports weekends, Charlton, in history when you think about it.
Yeah.
You got all these great college games going on as well as high school games.
Yep.
You got the NFL going on, Charlton. And all of a sudden, Tiger Woods is going to command the interest of 30%, 35% of America.
Yeah.
I'm serious. One individual is going to command 35% of the television viewing audience tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if you look at what Tiger's done over the last 2 months of playing golf, Charlton, Saturday has been his most dominant day.
Yeah.
He's averaging 6 under on Saturday.
Wow.
So if he plays to his average on Saturday, Charlton, that means he potentially could go into Sunday with the lead.
Yeah.
So you talk about how damaging he could be towards college football tomorrow, Charlton.
Yeah. I tell you what,
Think about how damaging he could be towards the league that owns Sunday.
Yeah. Or to the broadcasters that were saying, oh, he's not going to come back. He's washed up. He'll never win again. Even them good old boys would be watching. I just want to bring up a couple of other names because they're world-class names. Molinari, he's +5, tied for 25th. Phil Mickelson, I really like Phil. He's +5, though, also tied for 25th. You think about Koepka, +7, tied for 30th. Day, +1. In 20th place. So when you think about great golfers, and even Fowler was challenging Tiger earlier in the tournament, but he's -3 now. He's tied for 8th. So what I want to bring up to the sports universe about Tiger Woods, we talk about this thing again about that old broadcaster, Hall of Fame NBA broadcaster said, Charlton, our job is to make sure that we convince people that they did not see with their own eyes what they just saw. We got to convince them to see what we want them to see. What I love about Tiger, whether you love or hate Tiger, Tiger did nothing wrong to be hated. All Tiger did was dominate everybody, and then he had this thing that America still has an issue with, which is race, miscegenation. Because his wife was Caucasian, he lost $100 million in sponsorship because people made it anathema for him to do what the white guys were doing. Case in point, we have POTUS. Tiger didn't pay anybody $130,000 and have Giuliani come out and say, yes, he did. No, I didn't. Yes, he did. No, I didn't. That wasn't Tiger. POTUS has done it, and he's still getting the great favor through mainstream, Big C. Tiger didn't do any of that. His only crime was that America still has a problem with race, whether it's interracial, especially when it's a black man and a Caucasian woman, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, everybody knew it was purely racial divide in the situation with Tiger. Is that everybody wanted to make a situation where he was the only man in America doing something wrong. And here it is. We see this going on every day in the news for our politicians.
Yeah.
There's scandal after scandal with our politicians. We have a Supreme Court justice.
Yeah.
They can't get appointed right now because of a scandal of an allegation that he may have committed some years back. And I take offense to the president coming out today making a statement against this lady.
Again?
again, comes out in a text making a statement against her, knowing all the things that he's done impropriety-wise while he's been married on all these different occasions with the women that he has dealt with.
Yeah.
Is that why didn't she come out 36 years ago? One of the things about women coming out,
they were afraid.
And think about it, 36 years ago, who do you tell? Who's going to believe you?
Nobody.
If you're in some preparatory school, Charlton, they're not going to take you seriously. And you think about most sexual assaults that take place. In America, Charlton, somebody's assaulted every 98 seconds.
Yeah.
Think about this. In America, somebody is assaulted every 98 seconds.
That's horrible.
So if every one of these assault, Charlton, was reported, you'd have to kick out all the people that are in prison out, just putting the sexual offenders in, Charlton.
Yeah.
Generally, it's done by somebody that they know, that they've been acquainted with, Charlton. And so, most people say, well, if I don't tell anybody, it'll just go away.
Yeah.
And not realize that it hurts them and haunts them for years.
Yep.
I mean, you have to be sympathetic to a woman when she says something wrong has happened. Think about this. If your child comes home from school and said somebody hit them, what do you do as a parent? You want to go to the school and find out what has been done about this situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so when a woman goes to law enforcement and says that I've been assaulted by a man sexually, physically, you're going to say, well, what happened? Are you sure? Are you sure you want to pursue this? It's almost put up because 90% of the time they're talking to a male officer, Charlton.
Yeah.
And so they want to put up a defense against the complainant in these situations.
Yeah.
So regardless of whether you're a man or a woman listening to this program, Charlton, think about that. We all know somebody who has been sexually offended in their lifetime.
Well, think about,
we all know that.
We know that.
It doesn't make a difference whether it's a male or a female. They've been offended.
Yep.
And for people to be insensitive, and you're talking about taking a guy, making him a judge who has controlled people's lives, and he's already shown his favor towards women and their personal feelings towards their bodies.
Yep.
When he has denied a teenager to get an abortion that was held in custody.
Yeah.
That lets you know his feelings towards women. If that wasn't a red flag enough to say this guy doesn't care about the feelings of women or what happened to him, I don't know what else would be, Charles.
Well, I agree, Big C, and I appreciate what the Dallas Mavericks are doing to make sure that they address it. And again, just like Big C Sports always says, just Google it. If we can do anything to make it safe for at least one more person, I think most people who do predatory behavior, they do it because they get away with it. They don't do it in broad daylight. They do it when they can't get caught. No woman should ever have to pull her pants down to keep a job. We will always advocate for that. I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation of this billion-dollar industry. And for every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports, whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or your mom and pop soccer league. When you reach out to them, let them know Big C sent you. Speaking of reaching out and touching somebody, the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland, this is for you. Okay, that's my version of LeBron James, but he did it with $1 billion on the Big C. It may resonate more when LeBron did it. 635 days, 19-game win streak. The Browns came out victorious after being down 14 points in the first half, pulled out a 21-17 victory over the Jets. And think about this. The Browns are unbeaten in 2 games. They trailed by at least 14 points this year. But I still hear people saying, well, that Jackson has to go. Hugh Jackson has to go. I mean, what do you mean he has to go? He has more wins this year than John Gruden. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you think about it. Everybody said, well, would they be 3-0 if Baker Mayfield had started? Baker had an outstanding second half last night, Charlton.
Yeah.
You got to give the kid kudos for
He
what
earned
he
it.
did.
Yep.
But if they had not missed those kicks against Pittsburgh and against
the Saints,
would they be 3-0?
That's the black coach's fault.
That's Tyrod Taylor didn't do anything. He had the team in position to win.
Yep.
It's a team game.
Yep.
Everybody has to do their job. And you think about it last night, Charlton. The new field goal kicker made 2 field goals and 2 extra points.
Yep.
but no one even mentioned the guy.
Right.
If they had had those 2 field goals and those 2 extra points in their first 2 games, Charlton, they would be undefeated. I'm not taking anything away from Baker Mayfield.
He played great.
He did a tremendous job. He came into the game, Charlton. But this is the thing you got to look at. As much as people want to say, He sat behind Tyrod Taylor for 2.5 games. Okay?
And he learned something, yep.
He learned. He was able to pick up the game. He was able to understand the game's speed. He wasn't just thrusted out there and say, hey, make things happen. That's the thing about it. And also, Charlton, he played with house money last night. He couldn't do anything wrong. Even though he completed 72% of his passes, he couldn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
If they didn't win, he wouldn't have been blamed for it, Charlton.
No, that's the case.
I'm happy that the Browns won, but he played with house money. When you walk out there, and I don't know if everybody know how to play poker, but you want a big hand and say, okay,
yeah.
I just, nickel and dime the rest of the way to the tournament.
Yeah.
That's where he was.
Yep.
Is that, he went out there, he played. But this is also, Charlton, a situation where you have to look at Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Okay, that game against Detroit, is Detroit that bad?
Yeah.
I mean, so this is a thing that you have to look at that.
Yeah.
Is Detroit that bad? Detroit gave up 48 points to the Jets.
The Jets, yep.
And when you look at what Cleveland's defense has done, Charlton, they haven't given up any points all year long. I mean, they gave up 21 to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But they gave up 18 to New Orleans. So
Yeah.
they haven't done anything. This defense has been solid.
Yeah.
They put pressure on Darnold all night long.
Yep. And
it's a double-edged sword. Has Darnold hit the wall already, Charlton, after his first start in the NFL?
Well, we said
the Cleveland Browns that good overall.
They're a better team, and we said that Darnold would benefit from sitting the bench for at least 3 to 6 games. What do you have to lose by learning from a guy who's been there before? But everybody has to make their own choices. We'll run down the NFL Big C as you love so much. We have Week 3 preview. The Saints 1-1 at the Falcons 1-1. That game is a 1:00 p.m. kickoff Eastern Time Sunday on Fox Sports. The Falcons are favored by 3 at home versus the Saints. That game could go any direction, Big C. Your thoughts on who has the edge?
Well, Charlton, this is one of those genuine rivalries in the NFL. Both of these teams entered the NFL at the same time as expansion teams in the 60s. And so the proximity of these two cities, when you think about it, there's a lot of fans from New Orleans that live in Atlanta, from Hurricane Katrina, that became transplants in that city. But, when you think about the hate, this is a college atmosphere at an NFL game that you get, whether it's in New Orleans or in Atlanta. Atlanta found their stride last week. They were able to get some points while they were in the red zone, Charlton, where they had struggled for the last 7 games that they had played. But they found their stride. They spread it out the offense. Charlton found the receivers. Coleman played an excellent game as running back.
Yep.
New Orleans struggled against Cleveland offensively.
Yeah.
But so this is a game that, Drew Brees has to do a little more dinking and dunking to move the ball downfield. Atlanta has lost some key defensive players, Charlton. I still think this is a gimme game on a field goal by either team.
Well, I tell you what, Drew Brees is 16-9 versus Atlanta. The second game, the Packers 1-1 at the Redskins 1-1. That game is Sunday, Eastern Time, 1:00 kickoff on Fox Sports. The Packers are favored by 3 at the Redskins, and I know, look at Rodgers. Rodgers has to stay healthy. Alex Smith is healthy. Want to get your thoughts. Can they go into Washington and get a win with a quarterback that has a hitch in his giddy-up, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, he has a hitch in his giddy-up, but Charlton, they don't have any giddy-up in the backfield in Washington. Adrian Peterson came out that first game, gained 96 yards, and got tired. He's like a racehorse. He's like, man, I need a day off. And he took last Sunday off. And so that's what you really have to look at in this game, Charlton. Can Washington muster any ground game against the Packers?
Yeah.
We know that Aaron can get rid of the ball in a hurry, and that's what he'll do. He's not trying to wait on anybody, Charlton, to run down the field 40, 45 yards. He's going to get rid of the ball 20 yards or less. What he's going to do is a lot of long handoffs. He's going to put the pressure on the extremities of Washington defense. I like Green Bay in this game, Charlton, even with a gimpy Aaron Rodgers.
Big C, the number 3 game, the Colts 1-1 at the Eagles 1-1. 1:00 kickoff Eastern Time Sunday on Fox Sports. The Eagles are favored by 6.5 with a Carson Wentz over Andrew Luck. Now, Wentz just came off a knee injury, and to be sitting out for the first couple of games, and also Luck came off of an injury, 2 injuries. He's been out of the whole last year. This is a story of 2 injured quarterbacks. I still don't think that Carson Wentz is healthy, and I hate to see him get hurt because they're trying to prove a point. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I don't even know if health is the major issue. So we saw Aaron Rodgers and how he played last week.
Yeah.
I think it's about timing right now. That he doesn't have the tools that he had as a sophomore quarterback last year, Charlton, that made him look so great. That's the understatement right there. You really find out how good a quarterback is, based on what he has to work with. He's been downgraded as far as at the receiver and the running back position. The rest of the Eagles are fine.
Yeah.
It's just those guys are missing. And, it's not Carson Wentz the reason why the team has struggled. It's those key skilled players, Charlton, that are not there. I like Andrew Luck in this game, Charlton, because as the season goes on, he gets a better and better feel for the game. Carson Wentz is going to lack the timing. Andrew Luck is picked up on the timing, Charlton. I take the Colts in this game.
Should be a great thing to see just two good quarterbacks potentially and see how they turn out. Big season number 4 game. The Buffalo Bills, they're 0-2 at the Vikings, 1-0-1. Again, Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff Eastern Time on CBS Sports. Now, this looks like a college spread. The Vikings are favored by 16.5. How are you favored by 16.5 against an NFL football team, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, you got to call Todd McShea and Mel Kiper on that.
Yeah. They don't answer the phone, Big C. They don't answer the phone.
Well, I think they said he should be the number 1 overall pick. I do believe.
They said that.
He should have been drafted in front of Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
They said he was the best prospect in the draft.
Yep.
Okay, so. But I know your cousin answers your text. When you text him, I know he returns your text.
Yeah, he does.
This is a situation where he really has to prove his worth. $84 million is what he's getting paid guaranteed, Charlton.
Yeah.
He has to go out there and cover the spread against a hapless team in the NFL that may go 0-16 this year.
Well, that's a shame to see a team, an NFL team. You practice all week long. You practice all offseason getting the right players, and you're a 16-point underdog after making the playoffs last year. Big C, something doesn't make any sense in Buffalo. Number 5. Excuse me, Big C. The Raiders, led by John Gruden. I was doing a John Gruden interview. I'm sorry, Big C. The Raiders on the road in I guess you call it the swamp down there in the heat and humidity of Florida. They're 0-2 at the Dolphins, 2-0. 1 o'clock kickoff Eastern Time on CBS Sports. Now, the Dolphins are only favored by 3. That tells me that Las Vegas has a little something going on. You got a team that hasn't won a game in almost, seemed like a year. And you have the Dolphins who are off to a good start. But the point spread is kind of low. I think that's to bring some bettors in there, Big C. It looks like that they can at least win this game by a touchdown, you would think, because they put a lot of pressure. They have a rushing defense that could cause a lot of problems for the Raiders. And unlike Oakland, Big C, I think they kept most of their good players from last year. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you look at this game, Derek Carr keeps this game close because you look at the performance he had last week in Denver, where they fell short. But the difference is, Charlton, is you have a mobile quarterback in Miami. That will put a lot of pressure on that defensive line that you're trying to teach how to pass rush. I think that's what he said in the
they need a pass rush.
You got to teach his defensive lineman how to pass rush. Now, maybe he want to call Todd Bowles in the tent because they picked that defense apart last week. Because they couldn't pass rush.
Right.
So it's been proven in the NFL, Charlton, when you don't have a pass rush, and I think that the Oakland Raiders are averaging 1 quarterback sack a game.
Wow.
They played 2 games and they averaged
that'd be 1 a game,
So that's their Achilles heel right now, Charlton. You can score a few points, but you can't stop teams from scoring points. And the thing about the Raiders, you're going to be playing down in Miami. The ball gets a little slick in that humidity down there. So I give advantage to the Dolphins, Charlton, being at home and the Raiders having to come across the country. And I think Gruden might be losing this team already this early in the season.
Well, they lost at Denver. They got to come back home and then fly all the way across the country again. Coach John Gruden, hopefully they'll start Googling his record before you give anyone $100 million. The Bengals 2-0 at the Panthers 1-1. 1 o'clock kickoff Eastern Time Sunday on CBS Sports. The Panthers are favored by 3 at home. Should be a close game. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, they're going to be playing on grass. The Bengals are a turf team. But, they got some big-time receivers in Cincinnati, and the defense has played extremely well.
Yeah.
Cam Newton, how will he perform after that loss last week against the Falcons? I know he played fairly well as a quarterback. He put over 350 yards in the air, Charlton, up against the Falcons defense. So this is going to be a very interesting game. I'd like to see the Cincinnati Bengals stay on stride. Charlton, Marvin Lewis get the pressure off his back. I like Cincinnati in this game.
Big C, the Broncos 2-0. They're off to a good start. They're at the Ravens 1-1. Should be a defensive slugfest. Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff on CBS Sports. The Ravens are favored by 5. By 5 against that Denver defense, I don't know. I want to get your thoughts on that, Big C.
Well, Charlton, Von Miller has found that the quarterbacks of the opposing teams in the first 2 games.
Yeah.
Maybe Joe Flacco might want to give Russell Wilson a call, might want to give Derek Carr a call.
Yeah.
So what do you do when he's breathing down your back all day long?
Yeah.
And so I like Denver in this game, Charlton.
Yeah.
This is a team that's traveling, but the way that they've played defense thus far, Charlton, and Case Keenum has managed the game. He threw a couple of interceptions, but he manages the game. He's not going to take any big chances. They have an adequate receiving core in Denver. The thing was, when you look at Baltimore, that first game out with Joe Flacco, you could see that he had, upped his game because he had a young quarterback behind him.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden he came down to reality in game 2, Charlton.
Yeah, game 2 makes a difference. We'll see what happens game 3. We have the Giants 0-2 at the Texans 0-2. That's a surprise for both organizations, especially with all the holdouts in New York. And will someone come back, either receiver-wise or quarterback, etc.? 1 o'clock kickoff Eastern Time Sunday on Fox Sports. The Texans are favored by 6, and I'm sure they have the better quarterback in this game. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you can't keep blaming the offensive lineman in New York. You honestly can't. One minute you say, well, we moved to another tackle, we bring in this tackle. Yeah, at some point you got to start looking at the quarterback.
Yeah.
The quarterback with the Giants doesn't have the ability to snap off the ball, to get rid of it in a hurry. He's never done that in his career.
No.
He's had to have developing routes. And when he checks off to the running back, he never checks off to him in stride. He has to stop and wait on the ball, Charlton.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have that hit of momentum going down the field. So he puts him in a hindrance. And when you think about Barkley, who was drafted high by the Giants, number 2 overall pick.
Yep.
He's the 4th highest paid running back in the NFL, Charlton.
Yeah.
But he's in this offense where he's averaging only 2.2 yards a carry.
Yeah.
You take out that 64-yard run he had, Charlton, in that opening game against Jacksonville, 2.2 yards a carry. So they can't run block, they can't pass block, they can't pass, they can't run.
Yep. There's no threat.
They can't win.
Yeah, no threat for them to take 8 men out of the box, so they're putting a lot of pressure on Barkley to turn up a good game. Want to see how well J.J. Watt plays through this game also. The Titans 1-1 at the Jaguars 2-0, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time kickoff Sunday on CBS Sports. And I'm going to tell you, the Jaguars, they look very, very good. I know the Titans play them close all the time, but I got to get your thoughts on the Jaguars. Are they for real, Big C?
Well, Charlton, defensively, they've been for real the past 2 years in the NFL. They've just been a dominant force.
Yeah.
And you think about it, if Mariota's still out of this game, Charlton, you got Blaine Gabbert playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Blaine Gabbert, I don't think Blaine Gabbert can outrun you.
I don't think so. I'll take that. I'll take that race.
You got this defensive line that will get after you. I mean, they pummeled Eli Manning in the first game.
Yeah.
They got after Tom Brady, had him off his spot, Charlton.
Yep.
In the second game, when you got Blaine Gabbert, his eyes will look like silver dollars, Charlton.
We all like silver dollars. I still got some from when I was a kid. Speaking of silver dollars, you ever go to sleep at somebody's house, or you go someplace, maybe your uncle falls asleep, and you always check the couch when he gets up, because he always has his loose change hanging around in his pocket. You think the 49ers realize they overpaid? We have the 49ers 1-1 at the Chiefs 2-0. That game is Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff Eastern Time on Fox Sports. The Chiefs are favored by 6.5. You got a quarterback that's paid $137 million, and he's the underdog in any game. Doesn't make any sense. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I think about at the end of last season and all during the offseason how Jimmy Garoppolo was going to become the new face of the NFL.
The new Joe Montana.
Why didn't the Patriots get rid of Brady and keep him?
Yeah.
The thing that people don't understand is that he was in a system. He's a system quarterback.
Yep.
Here's a quarterback, Charlton, through two games, okay? Everybody raised about his 7 touchdown passes last year.
Right. And 5 interceptions.
5 interceptions.
Yep.
Right now, Charlton, he has 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
He's facing a quarterback that has 10 touchdowns and no interceptions.
Yeah.
He's facing an offense, Charlton, in Kansas City, who has as many weapons as anybody has seen, Charlton, in the first 2 weeks of any football season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, has sat back and learned, and he's ingested this Kansas City offense, Charlton. He takes what the defense gives him. You haven't seen him force anything.
No.
But he spins the ball. People were elated last night about how Baker Mayfield threw the football.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes throws it like that on every play.
Every play.
And he's completing 72% of his passes.
Yeah, he's really off the hook, Big C. Love looking what happens offensively in that game. The Chargers 1-1 at the Rams 2-0. The battle for L.A., Big C. So when the crowd says, beat L.A., beat L.A., that's like a guy beating himself up before he enters a boxing ring, Big C. So who's going to win this game? 4:05 kickoff Eastern Time, Sunday on CBS Sports. The Rams are favored by 7. I remember what Kansas City did to the Chargers. I think the Rams have as much firepower or more than what Kansas City had. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, the Chargers got their one victory versus your buddies up there in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And so they really didn't have much opposition.
Yeah.
They didn't face the defensive pressure that Phillip Rivers is going to face in this game with this tremendous defensive line that the Rams have, Charles.
Yeah.
But you also look at this receiving core and a quarterback that can throw the ball in golf. They put a lot of pressure on you. And then you got Todd Gurley, who is probably the best player on that entire offense, Charlton, when you look at all the superstars that they possess.
Yep.
So this will be a game, Charlton, because the Chargers are nicked up a little bit defensively.
Yeah.
I go with the Rams dominating at home.
Especially Goff and wide receiver Brandon Cooks really connecting, Big C. The Bears, the Blues Brothers. I think about the Blues Brothers when I think about the Chicago Bears, monsters of the Midway, 1-1 on the season at the Cardinals, 0-2 down in the desert. 4:25 p.m. kickoff Eastern Time, Sunday on Fox Sports. The Bears are favored by 5.5. Big C with the Khalil Mack and them good old boys coming to the desert. 5.5 might be generous, Big C. Your thoughts?
Charlton, totally generous. I mean, you got an NFL quarterback who could only throw for 94 yards in a game.
Wow.
And you're facing one of the top pass rushing teams in the NFL. And this quarterback is not mobile.
No.
I don't know if he could beat Tom Brady in a 10-yard race.
And I think they're going to do that race, too.
So, when you think about this team, Charlton, and how dismal performance. Matter of fact, they didn't even score a point against the Rams last week. They were shut out.
Yeah.
And you think about how difficult that is in the NFL to get shut out when you got guys that make millions of dollars.
Yep.
And the Bears are hungry. They don't have much offensively, Charlton. They got everything you can ask for defensively.
And then when a bear is hungry, a bear has got to eat, Big C. And how does bear taste? I know we're not supposed to whisper. We're going to whisper this. How does bear taste, Big C? How does bear meat taste down south, Big C?
Well, Charlton, it has a little game in it. You got to let it happen. That's when you make some sausage out of it. But, they are a predatory animal. And if you get them at the right time of year, Charlton, you eat a lot of fruits and berries and grass.
Yep.
And stuff, so the meat can be clean.
I understand. Speaking of eating, them Cowboys, how about them Cowboys? 1-1 at the Seattle Seahawks, 0-2. And I'm telling you, the Cowboys like to eat birds, Big C. But the birds been eating a lot of fish, if you understand the pecking order. But 4:25 kickoff, Sunday Eastern Time on Fox Sports. The Seahawks are favored by 1.5 at home. If they can't keep Russell Wilson safe, they'll be tossing him around on Seattle's fish market. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you think about what Russell Wilson has had to face in the first 2 games of this season, he was sacked 6 times by the Denver defense.
Yeah.
He was sacked 6 times by the Chicago defense.
Yeah.
The Dallas Cowboys defense, Charlton,
is good.
Is number 2 in sacks in the NFL.
Yep.
So that lets you know the plight of this game in Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson doesn't have a running back that scares anybody.
No.
So everybody pins back their ears and comes after him. This offensive line is like holding cheesecloth up in front of a semi and say, come on through. We don't even care about our job. We just get paid. That's all they look at. So I like Dallas in this game, and Dak Prescott. He has a new wide receiver in Tavon Austin. I haven't seen any real stoppers on the Seattle defense. I see Ezekiel Elliott having a big game.
Yeah.
And if Dak Prescott can squeeze out 250 yards passing, Charlton, Dallas walks home with a victory.
Well, I like Dallas in that game, Big C. Pete Carroll, get an offensive line. The Patriots 1-1 at the Lions 0-2. Now, if this is real, a Lion would maul a Patriot, okay, Big C? It would maul a Patriot. But these Lions, they're a little bit toothless, Big C. Patriots 1-1 at the Lions 0-2. 8:20 kickoff Eastern Time. Sunday Night Football, NBC Sports. The Patriots are favored by 6.5. Have the guys down in Las Vegas saw what the Jets did to Detroit? The Patriots only favored by 6.5. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you think about Matthew Stafford.
Yep.
He has never won a meaningful game in his career in the NFL.
No.
A big game that he's had to win against another big-time quarterback, he has never done that.
No.
Matt Patricia hasn't figured it out yet. You know, take the pencil off your ear, take the hat off your head, put something on that to look like a head coach.
Yeah.
You know, your team plays how you dress.
Yeah.
And I think that's the description of Detroit that I can come up with.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about New England last week in Jacksonville, they were never out of that game, Charlton.
No.
They were right there.
Yep.
And when you have Detroit, Charlton, coming to town and you know, San Francisco throttled them last week, and they're not as good an offensive team as New England is. So this is a game that New England needs to get back on track. Bill Belichick wants to prove that, hey, I'm the teacher. You're still the student.
Yeah, he's still the student, the teacher, Big C. We all know that makes a lot of sense. You know, when you go to the zoo, they say don't pet the lions. The Detroit Lions, they say you can pet them, Big C, because they have no bite in them whatsoever. The Pittsburgh Steelers 0-1-1. At the mighty Buccaneers, 2-0, have a lot of swag now with Fitzpatrick doing his thing. That's an 8:15 p.m. kickoff Eastern Time. Monday Night Football on the ESPN. And somebody's been getting in somebody's moonshine. They have the Steelers favored by 1. They haven't seen that good old boy with that swag and that gold line around his neck, Fitzpatrick, Big C. Your thoughts on the Steelers going down into Tampa? And I don't know, that point spread seems like it's a joke to me, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, your buddies in Vegas every now and then set people up. When you look at what Tampa is doing offensively and look at what Pittsburgh is not doing defensively, there's a lot of open areas. And when you think about Kansas City's offensive weapons, they have the same thing down there in Tampa.
Yep.
You got O.J. Howard. You got Jackson. You got Evans.
Yep.
I mean, you got 3 big-time receivers that you can't sit there and man up, Charlton. You got to try to run some zone to help yourself out.
Yeah.
And Fitzpatrick is intelligent enough to take what you give him.
Yeah.
He hopes that you give him one-on-one. Ben is struggling.
Yeah.
You know, they can blame everybody else. But Ben is throwing these interceptions.
Yeah.
That's what's killing Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Is the interceptions that Ben Roethlisberger has thrown. You go back to the AFC semifinals last year against Jacksonville.
Yep.
And he started out the season doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And they really miss Le'Veon Bell. You could tell that last week.
Oh,
James Conner's numbers have declined since that first game of the season, Charlton.
Yeah, it's all, yeah.
If he can't get 100 yards on the ground this week, you know the difference. Le'Veon Bell is not there.
Yeah, it's a big difference, Big C. We love bringing you Big C Sports. We love keeping women safe. We love the fact that we have golf. Tiger Woods is back and he's moving the needle, Big C. NFL football is off the hook. Major League Baseball, they're hunting for Red October. Who's going to win the World Series? Well, it all determined by who gets into the playoffs first. Also, high school football, enjoy your nights. Please, everyone, drive safe. Speaking of safe, Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young men, rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, it used to be that we had one sport that was talked about year-round in America.
Yeah.
That was the NFL.
Yep.
Now we got 2, the NBA.
Yeah.
And they tip off their preseason tonight, Charlton, already.
Wow. I'm telling you what, not only are they ready, you're ready, everybody's ready, and we're ready every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide. Follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America, and Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And them good old boys down south, as we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports Show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.